Ladies and gentlemen, the Apes are back in Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, directed by Wes Ball, saying 300 years later, and everything's going to be answered. If people cares about this IP, I'm happy to have a guest who him and I will be breaking down the box office and breaking down to this review of this episode. Let's dive in.
I scream, you scream for movies, and that's what we be doing.
What is good, movie fans? Welcome to I Screamed, You Scream 4, number 4, 4 movies. I'm Danny Escamalaji. Do take a moment and subscribe to the podcast wherever you're listening on, and don't forget to follow my social media platforms. They'll both be in descriptions of the episode below, which is my Twitter X and TikTok for video clip content and whatnot. But ladies and gentlemen, I'm feeling confident right now to have this gentleman here because he's not just a wanna B.O boy. He is a wanna B.O intern person himself. The intern of the Wanna B.O Boys internship program from the B.O Boys podcast. I'm happy to bring this man close to my age, a youngster himself, Wanna B.O Boys Senior Intern Christopher. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, man. It's been great talking to you over the phone the past couple of weeks, and I'm excited to finally be on the pod and to talk some apes.
Yes, so we're discussing Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes on this episode, ladies and gentlemen. But I already told Christopher, in case no one understands this title as well, we are going to break down a little box office first. So for those that are wanting to listen to the review itself, I will leave time code stamps in the description so you guys can just like listen to a specific part of what part of the section you want to listen to. So if anyone doesn't have the patience to listen to the box office, I don't care. You know what? I'll just say the time code's there. You can just skip to the review. But if you're welcome to listening to the good old summer blockbuster preview of the numbers, you're welcome to listen.
I think they'd be crazy if they skipped the box office portion.
Oh, me too. Because my suggestion is you guys have to understand, I'm not just a reviewer, huh? I'm not a critic, huh? But I care about the movie business. I care about numbers. I care about the audiences. I care about the industry of movie theaters and such. So that's why I love doing these episodes sometimes, to dig deep into these type of like good old numbers and what they mean to audiences going forward. So, all right, Christopher, without further ado, we're going to get started to the box office numbers real quick. So I just listened to the B.O Boys' latest episode last night. It was on the YouTube feed. So you guys were reading the estimates, and I just got the actuals today. So let me know if it's correct or not. But Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes had a good hold Mother's Day, and it made $58.5 million for the weekend, which is over the first Rise, over War, and it just behind Dawn, which Dawn is the biggest opener of the series, which made 72 back in 2014. So made over Rise, made over War, but not above Dawn. So in my prediction, I don't know if you noticed, but I predicted 66.
Oh,
so
okay.
What was your number going forward before this number came?
My personal prediction, I'm not sure I said this anywhere, but I was thinking around 55 million. So I was right in line with projections. I thought
was going to end. You nailed it. You
I
totally
was close.
nailed it. Right?
I was close. I thought I was going.
I was close too because look, back months ago, I wasn't sure if people cares about this IP because no Caesar, no Matt Reeves, but most of all, no Caesar. Caesar like the star of the series.
Yeah, Caesar's the star.
So when they're moving on with this new trilogy and it's directed by Wes Ball, I'm very excited for what this new movie holds, but do general audiences, especially the oldsters, still love and still care about this IP? But this weekend really shows that people do care. So, before we break down a lot to this weekend, the Fall Guy just opened last week to 27.5, and it definitely underperformed. It's sad because it had a lot. It had a lot going forward. Ryan Gosling, the Barbenheimer crossover promotional actors with Emily Blunt and Gosling, and Gosling star power, of course, and David Leitch, who came off good with Bullet Train, off the Goodwill, and it just underperformed. So, Christopher, I want to get your take. Why did the Fall Guy just underperformed?
I think it underperformed because the place they opened it in the calendar. I think if that movie opened to 28 million in like March or April, that would have been hailed as a success, because that's what that type of movie should be assumed to do. Like those numbers are right in line with like The Lost City, with Bullet Train, which was David Leitch's last big R-rated comedy. Like these R-rated comedies with stars do have an audience and can make money, but they just can't promote these movies like it's a summer blockbuster with a $130 million budget. You gotta keep your expectations in check. I think that's what happened here.
Right. The budget, I will say, is very high, so that's
Yeah.
why, unfortunately, it's going to be hard to making back its money, especially overseas, when you have other films coming up in the weeks. You have If coming out, you have Furiosa, you have Garfield, and going to June. I mean, I would think The Fall Guy would just run smoothly fine, even with such good word of mouth to this film. I like the film for sure.
Yeah, I liked it too. Yeah, but yeah,
But-
I think it's gonna get lost in the shuffle. Sadly, man.
And unfortunately, look, I hate to say this, but I don't think Ryan Gosling isn't the star kicking off this summer. I hate to say this, but it's the Apes.
It is the Apes.
The Apes should have opened last week, but regardless to what status it opens, it just kicked off the way we expected to be. So 58.5 is a good start number. That isn't a Marvel movie. So
Yeah,
the Apes really deserves the goodwill coming off in the last film. So
and
I'd
I
say
know
good for that.
I know we don't talk about worldwide grosses as much as domestic, but this actually was the biggest opening worldwide for this franchise so far. So like that truly does show people still do care about these apes, and apes are hot at the box office right now.
Totally. All right. So, just a quick take on the cinema score. Now, I know we both probably know it's bullshit at this point, but it's gotta be, which is under the previous trilogy. They all have A-minuses: War, Rise, and Dawn. But Kingdom has B. Now, it doesn't go to show that the people that react to this on Twitter loved it. I guess it's just the general audiences speaking forward. I think it has something to do with a little of the weakness, but I'm not sure why. But let's just say that people were a little dragged on by like the pacing, and they were on their phones and like falling asleep. So I guess that's where the cinema score comes from.
Yeah, but I also don't fully know how representative that is, because sometimes when a cinema score is that bad, like you will see it fall off a cliff throughout the weekend, and and then this film ends up doing better on Sunday than everyone thought it would. So I feel like that shows.
Too.
So I feel like that shows maybe the cinema score is, even though it is low, don't get me wrong, like it's low. You can't get around that.
Right.
But I think it's not gonna hopefully affect its legs as bad as everyone thought it was gonna be Friday night.
Yeah, Saturday I was concerned with the cinema score. I was thinking it would drop 15, but then it just holded to 20.
Yeah.
And Sunday it hold to 16.5, I think. If that's
So like it was really consistent throughout the entire weekend.
It was consistent.
I mean, obviously the weekday numbers, then especially next weekend, are going to be the real test. But like so far, it's not as detrimental as everyone thought it was going to be going into the weekend.
Yeah, I agree. So the Apes totally are the stars. They kicked off right with 58.5. Fall Guy, I wish the film best of luck through leg.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to say. I mean, it sucks. It really sucks. You know, the Fall Guy, I didn't talk much of it last week episode with the numbers, but I did say it was underperformed, and I'd explain a few reasons why. But, I mean, it just opened where it didn't meant to do. It should have been open to spring, you're right, or winter, at least. Yeah, I guess it wasn't made for a summer release. So
that just got, you can't open a March movie in summer and expect it to play like a summer movie. You just got to open it in March.
Now, just to get a take, if Dune end up being in May, will that just do really good?
I think that movie showed you could have put Dune in any slot, and there was a hunger for it there. I think I think people would have seen Dune no matter when they put it on the calendar.
I agree. I think that's the strong will of that. But then the PLS will be gone to Apes. So
I know. So
Warner
they
Brothers
chose the good
had
spot.
to play the goodest spot where they have these PLS running for weeks. You have IMAX, and that's Dolby, and that's all that goodwill coming off these big screen events that you have to see on the big screen possible. Even with the Fall Guy, that you had a 1 week of running this on IMAX and Dolby's, and they're all given to Apes.
Yeah.
So now now the film has a couple weeks before Furiosa takes them over. For another 2 weeks.
Apes got the run of the PLFs because I doubt If is going to take that many from him. So Apes has
Totally.
the run of the PLFs for the next 2 weeks, which is also a really good sign for them because that, unlike the Fall Guy, that is one of those movies that you should see on the biggest screen possible for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. All right, Christopher, is there anything else we should touch base before we jump right into the review for this episode?
I'm ready to jump right into the review, man.
Let's jump in. So, ladies and gentlemen, Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I'll go first. I loved it. Now, it doesn't go to show it's not good as Dawn. Dawn is the best. Look, you and I both agree. And I think
Dawn. Yeah, I think everyone agrees Dawn's the best. I think that's a collective thing.
And I love where this starts off right after the trilogy. It's so much good things to talk about. So I'm going to let you speak on my behalf. What do you think of Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes quickly before we dove into the topics for tonight?
Yeah, I thought it was a great follow-up. And I think the way they handled it was so smart. Like using Caesar not as like a main character or anything, but like his ideas as a crux for like how that would be interpreted like many generations down the line. I thought that was a great idea on how to start off this new trilogy. And I totally agree. I love the movie.
I loved it so much because with Caesar's legacy in this film, it's like the films never lost any identity to the trilogy, which is all about Caesar. And going to 300 years later, generationally, it's still about Caesar, except he's not in the movie, but it's the concept idea of what this new protagonist understands, which I do love this new protagonist, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
He's not as Caesar, but I think we're going to start to see a little goodwill and the idea of this new protagonist, which the new protagonist named is Noah. Not Noah, it's Noa. Nice spelling for that, Noah, but
yeah,
Noah's well handled in this movie. I actually loved it. Loved this character. So what do you think of Noah in this film?
I really loved Noah, and I know we'll probably talk about this later, like towards the end of the film, but I really love the trajectory they're maybe potentially setting up between Noah and May. I think that like future relationship, like I said, we'll talk about this more towards the end of the review, but I thought the way they set up those characters for what they're going to mean for each other in the sequel is going to be really interesting. And yes, I totally, by the end, I'm on board with Noah. I love Noah. I think he was a great character, and I think they did a really good job introducing him as like the spiritual successor to Caesar almost.
Oh yeah, totally. I loved everything of this character and so much other characters that were introduced. Especially you got Proximus Caesar, which that was the thing I loved going forward. He didn't have much screen though, but I think the performance by Kevin Durand was amazing.
Oh yeah, and especially like you just said, like barely any screen time. Like he was a very like foreboding and like scary villain, and you don't even meet him till like halfway through the movie. But like you still like you feel as soon as he comes on screen, you feel that intensity about him. And I thought that performance was great, and I thought he was a really scary villain.
It's so funny that he's called Proximus Caesar. I thought he'd be like it's like a doppelganger thing relating to Caesar. One good Caesar, bad Caesar. But I mean, I love the name Proximus Caesar for sure. Don't get me wrong. I think this is an interesting character I like looking at. I wish it was like explored a little more into depth,
Yeah, no,
but that.
Yeah, and I like I said, like with their religious teachings, I love how they took the idea of Caesar and he just like twists it in his mind to like commit all these bad things. And I thought that was a really interesting angle for this movie to take, and I think it worked out perfectly.
And I want to bring up to May, which she's played by Freya Allen, right?
Yeah. She's the if people have seen her before, if they've ever watched The Witcher, she's like I think Cersei's her name, not Sir, something like that, something with the C.
In The Witcher. Oh, I don't watch the show, but I know she's from that show.
Yeah, she's like the main girl in The Witcher. So yeah, I've seen her before. But yeah, I thought she was really good too. She also like she doesn't talk for like the first like 30 minutes we meet her, and by the end too, like I was really I liked her character. But if anything for her, I feel like I'm more intrigued because I didn't get like a lot out of her, but now I really am interested in where her story goes. Because I think she's the character that they left with the most unanswered questions for like future installments.
That's right. I can't wait to see a lot to what she has to offer next films because they really left us good hanging with this character. So definitely looking for a lot to this character for sure. Any other characters we should bring up to what we think who's going to return or who we think we actually liked?
I forget their names, but Noah's two friends, like that group of three, I need more of those three hanging out in the next movie. Just like those three together. And I think I also really like the little love story Noah has going on with the girl too. Like those three together I really liked, and I wish we got more screen time with them. So I'm excited for future installments where we can hopefully get to see them hanging out more together, because I really did like the bond between those three.
Oh, for sure. I love chemistries for sure. I can't
wait. Yeah, no, their chemistry.
I can't wait to see their chemistry is going to go on. Let's go to Wes Ball. Now, before we talk about Wes Ball, the way he did this movie, we both think he's going to do great with Zelda, right?
Oh, 100%. And I mean, I don't know if you've ever seen the Maze Runners, but like those movies are very well directed. I know they're YA, but like those also have the same like dystopian feel and stuff like that. I think Wes Ball is a great director, and and I don't know if you've seen any of his interviews, but he's saying all the right things to make Zelda fans happy right now. And I'm not a huge Zelda. I've never played any of those games, but I can it looks like he's saying the right things. And I've seen the fan reaction. I'm
a gamer. If everyone's watching it on YouTube, I'm holding a Zelda copy of Tears of the Kingdom.
Exactly. So I mean, but I'll ask you, like, how do you think? Is he saying the right things on the interview circuit?
I never looked at interviews because I don't want to get spoiled. But for what he's doing, I'll say this: the way he constructed this film, directing wise, building up the world, building up characters, he's gonna open up Hyrule in such cinema aspect, and I cannot wait to what he brings on the table for a Zelda film. Yeah. And live action wise too. That's the best part. Yeah. And the best part is he mentioned the Apes movies were shot entirely realistically. Less screen CGI, less blue screens, but realistically. I thought what he's going to do with the cinematography directing wise to bring up the Zelda is going to be very good of why the CGI visuals and cinematography is going to be next level.
Oh, yeah. No, I think he did. Yeah, everything he did was like great. And you can tell too. You can feel that movie was shot on location as much as they possibly could. Like that world felt lived in. And like, everything looked great on camera. I don't think there was one shot that looked like, like everything he did looked beautiful.
Considering this is a 20th century, this is a CGI visual vested Avatar way. And I gotta say, how Wes Ball completely went on to the visuals and CGI, whoever's in charge of that, did an amazing job. Yeah. I love the way the grasses are, the apes designs, the locations. Man, oh my God, it was just so amazing. No question about it.
Yeah, no question. I think everything he did was spot on. I think it was great.
Anything else before we go to the little issue of this film? Because I mean, I do got to say just only one thing I think we both agree on: the pacing.
I say we just talk. Yeah, it's that first hour is a little slow. Don't go. I mean,
don't be like those general audiences that gave it a B cinema score, a C.
No, but it's also like it was the type of slow where I understood it, because you have to. I mean, this is 300 years down the road. Like, you have to introduce these new characters. You got to flesh out the world and stuff. And even though it was slow in the moment, it ended up like it worked for the movie. And I think almost all the scenes they had, they like truly, like, I really can't think of too much stuff that they should have cut out. Even though it was slow, I feel like you almost needed all of it to truly like get the movie that you ended up getting.
Yes, that's true. Look, as much as dragging can be going along how the buildup works, it's really okay because, again, Wes Ball is just introducing what this world is after 300 years from the previous trilogy and the characters. So, I mean, it goes to show that people aren't patient sometimes when they expect like an action blockbuster, you know? Now, this isn't a popcorn blockbuster, but it's a returnal form blockbuster for this consistent franchise.
Yeah, I know. This is the one thing. Another thing about that cinema score is all of these films are marketed to be like more action heavy that they are. But now you're 4 films into this franchise. I feel like you got to know what you're getting into. Like these always have been a little bit more elevated than your typical summer blockbuster. And I feel like people should know that right now. Maybe people have just seen too much King Kong and Godzilla at this point.
Oh,
So
yeah.
they were just thinking this is going to be dumb fun, and then they realized they actually had to turn their brains on a little bit for this movie. So
Oh, yeah.
maybe that's partially what it is. But yeah, I just feel like this is 4 movies in. They're not changing like how these movies are to their core at all. Like these are all still like thematically this is the same franchise. Like you can tell. So yeah, I don't understand what these people were looking for with
That's
that.
right.
With those
That's right.
little
And
cinema
look,
score.
you went to see it last night
Mhm.
on Mother's Day. I went to see it opening night on Friday. Packed house for me. What about yours?
Yeah, I think there was maybe like 5 seats unsold in my entire theater. Yeah, I had a packed house, and we actually had 2 couples bring their babies. That's how much people.
Yeah,
want to
yeah.
see
I
it.
heard you mention
Yeah,
that on the B.O Boys
people-
episode.
Yeah, people want to go to this movie so bad they brought the babies. So that I feel like that's a great sign too.
So bringing babies and children into this movie, this is like another sign that I think the children, the wanted BO children,
Children.
could end up falling in love with this IP consistently. Especially, we're
Mhm.
getting what 9 films right
That's
after
what-
Kingdom. Well, not after Kingdom.
Yeah,
let's
but
say.
nine film. That's the plan right now. Apparently, yes. One of the producers for the franchise said in an interview the other day that they have a 9-film plan, and I mean they're almost halfway there. So why not? I say go. I love these.
Go
dates.
for it.
Give me all 9 films.
I will say,
don't stop there.
Westball needs to come back and finish strong because for
Mhm.
somehow, while Rise was a good movie, Matt Reeves just capped off the trilogy. So to make this less half worked, or let's just say half credited, because
Mhm.
I don't know whose trilogy belongs to. I feel like it belongs to Matt Reeves anyways.
I
but-
think it's Matt Reeves' trilogy. I think
Yeah, for sure.
He turned it into his trilogy.
let it be Westball's trilogy, and
Let
then
it
let
be
someone else understands the trilogy's consistent go to the next. Because look, with 9 films, you're gonna get like 2 more films to this trilogy. You're probably gonna get a reboot or a remake. I mean, I don't know how 9 films are gonna work, but like that's just like it's like the family tree of how many Apes movies consistently last to how many films that all generations will go watch.
I
and
think
how
the
many
original
films
one
can
maybe
stand.
got to 5 or 6 movies. I want to say back the one back in the six. Let me look that up real quick.
Yeah. I was on my phone, but yeah, I'll let you go. I'll let
go
you
look it up.
Yeah,
Apes. Yeah,
Well,
let's see how many.
literally, this franchise is consistent so much. Let it be more films and let everyone else fall in love. This is like a world they should dive into.
Yeah,
this
so
is the type
the
of work.
original one made it to 5 movies. So we're
Okay.
close. We're close to that. We're close to
We're
that.
close. All right.
So
So
I
wait.
say they can do that.
So you're saying the last 5 should count because, or you
No,
mean
no,
the modern? Okay, the modern.
Yeah, no. So yeah, the OG Planet of the Apes, they made it to 5 films. So I'm thinking this modern one can make it to 5, and I say why stop there? Especially if
Yes.
the audience love it as much as they do now. I say just keep the train rolling.
Oh, totally. All right, Christopher. That's almost everything on this review. What would you now? My good friend of mine always tells me what I usually rate movies. So, score and star wise, I'll give this over a 9 out of 10, and I'll give this like a 4 stars. What about you?
I'm gonna give it. I think I'd give it like an 8.5 out of 10. Probably I guess like a 4 out of 5. I'm not as high as it on you, but I still think like this was such a good movie. I mean, like I don't understand that cinema score at all.
I'll
Like,
I'll never understand picky audiences these days.
Yeah,
for
I
this
know.
movie.
You
Just
can't.
because they see action on these trailers, which I think that's how the trailers were marketed.
Yeah,
You
no,
can't
but like I
expect
said,
100%.
that's how every one of these movies is marketed, and people still went and gave those first 3 A-minuses. So I'm just confused what the disconnect was between this one, because like I said, I feel like it's all the same thing. They do the same thing every time.
Especially the last trilogy. Dawn was the best. War was incredibly emotional.
Yeah,
I
I
was
was gonna.
expecting a lot from that goodwill of that. You know.
I mean, yeah, a movie called War for Planet of the Apes got an A- from general audiences. When let's be real, there's not a lot of war going on in that movie. Like that
Literally.
that is a very emotional, like dark movie when it comes down to it in the end, and that still managed to get an A-. So I'm just confused how this B ended up getting out there.
Let's go to the rankings for this modern films consistently, because I forgot to post my rankings for this on Twitter, but this will be on the podcast for sure. But
Yeah.
I'll go. Christopher, you go first as the
Okay,
guest.
I'm gonna go Dawn first, obviously. And then I think I'm gonna go War, then Kingdom, then Rise. But I would just like to preface all of these movies are still like at least like 8 out of 10s. Like even though ranking, it's like you're ranking like the best of the best. So like it's hard and like almost arbitrary because these movies are all still good. So you still got to go see them all.
Right. All right. For me, it's Dawn. Number
Mhm.
2 is Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, War. I will
Okay.
admit War has some pacing issues, which is why I loved Kingdom more.
Okay.
Because Kingdom didn't drag so much.
Okay.
That's
I'll
why I
give you-
topped
yeah.
it over War. So number 1, Dawn. Number 2, Kingdom. Number 3, War. And 4, Rise.
The one reason I give, because I understand those pacing issues, I just think War capped off that trilogy like on such a perfect note that like I think the ending of War just like makes that so good. Like the way that movie ended, I thought was amazing, and I thought it was really good. So that's why I give War the slight edge.
Yep.
But
And
yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I can't wait to see what they do with the next one. What title do you think they'll use?
I think, like, how much longer can these movies get?
There's one word that popped in my mind, and they haven't used it. I think it should be called Wrath of the Planet of the Apes.
Oh, I like that.
They never used that, and since they use Wrath of the Titans, which came out in 2012, there hasn't been any titles called Wraths with that since then. I can't remember.
I like Wrath. That's a good name. I think that's exactly what they should name the next one. I like Wrath of the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes.
For sure. For sure.
Man, that's a great title.
Any title they should use in your recommendation?
That
was my idea, but I want to see what you have in mind.
That's like I don't even know. Like that's actually such a good title. I think you like I can't even think. I was gonna think maybe like for this one I almost thought they should have said like Return to the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes or something like that. But I thought Kingdom was like that ended up being such a good title. So yeah, I don't know. But I say the next one of these next sequels has to be Wrath. I feel like they got to use it now.
We'll see. We'll see. And if it comes true, I don't know how to celebrate this, but I'll just say I called it. You know,
you called someone in Hollywood owes you a dinner or something.
Oh, for sure.
If the next movie is named Wrath.
Oh man, we'll see. All right,
Yeah.
Christopher, that's everything. I mean, anything else? We discussed box office. We discussed the review. We're into like almost 30 minutes, which is a good portion of this episode. Anything else to cap it off before we wrap things up?
No, man. I mean, just go out there and make sure to see Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes because I want another one. So I hope all your listeners go out and get that box office money up.
Get that box office revenue. Go see it on the biggest screen possible.
Go see it on those PLFs. Go see those PLFs.
All right, Christopher. I know you're not a podcaster, huh? But you are an intern, huh? Anyways, where can they expect your internship at the B.O Boys? What do you do? And
so I'm out there just making all the video clips for everyone. So you can check us out on Twitter. We have a TikTok. We have a YouTube, all at the B.O Boys Pod. Then you can also email us at thebospod@gmail.com. And then we also have recently revived our Substack with my intern, wanna B.O intern Jack. So go check out our Substack, also the B.O Boys Pod. So
he's doing a bang up job, I will say.
Jack is doing a bang up job with those with those articles too. So just search up the B.O Boys Pod and you'll find us somewhere.
I will mention this because just to advertise his articles, go look up the Wanna B.O Boys Substack articles where Wanna B.O Junior Intern Jack, I'll refer that, made an article, and I'm sure my friend, who is a huge fan of this guy, he made an article about Ryan Gosling's trajectory stardom. Yeah. So I love to advertise this because it's such a good read and it's very understandable. So everyone, subscribe to the Substack, to whoever's listening to this podcast or the video clip or something. I'll probably post it. But either way, subscribe to the Substack and you'll find the article by Ryan Gosling. And of course, every weekend of the predictions and results, Wanna B.O Junior Intern Jack is on to those articles. So always catch them on and subscribe to the Substack articles at the B.O Boys Substack.
Mm-hmm.
And the Twitter, the TikTok is where you guys should check them out for video clip contents, courtesy of the Wanna B.O Boys, and mated by Wanna B.O Senior Intern Christopher. And I want to thank him because I've been making these video clips just how they are, thanks to you. So I really appreciate a lot of the help. So thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And subscribe to the B.O Boys podcast. I will leave everything in the show notes. So that's where you guys can follow up on, and you guys don't have to just do all the hassle to search them up. You know, each links will take you to them if you have an app, or pretty much just get the apps and you'll get directed to those article links and such. But and for me, ladies and gentlemen, to quickly wrap this up, subscribe to this podcast if you're enjoying this. And don't forget to drop a 5-star on Apple if you're listening on this Apple podcast. Greatly helps listeners find the show. I'm on YouTube, so subscribe to the YouTube channel there. As you're listening to the podcast audio, you'll be getting to see more video faces of me, and you'll get to see Christopher. And follow my social media platforms on Twitter, X, and TikTok. They'll all be in the show notes as well. Christopher, before I end this off, what's your next movie? Because I'm going to see Furiosa in a couple weeks. Haven't got the tickets yet, but I'm so excited for Anya Taylor-Joy as this character. Huge fan.
I honestly, the early reactions for If have me intrigued. I might have to go see If.
I might be wrong to this point because I got to post the topic of the Jeff Box summer preview. So look, me and him went ham at it that it's gonna flop, but you know what? See. I'll post a clip and I'll be proven wrong anyways. But so your next film is gonna be If, or is it gonna be like Memorial Day weekend? I mean,
no, I think I'm gonna try and go see If. I'm intrigued. I love John Krasinski, so he hasn't failed me yet. All right, cool. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, expect the Furiosa episode coming soon in a couple of weeks. So subscribe then. But until then, ladies and gentlemen, this is Danny Escamilaggi. Fuck, it's Rafi. This is Danny Escamilaggi of I Screened, You Scream 4, number 4 movies. Until then, stay screaming for the movies. And I'll see you guys in another episode. Peace. Peace, guys.